prayers. Began to offer prayers. That was the prayer of a nation. Began to offer prayers. Began to offer prayers. And then God, who was invisible, became visible. He appeared like fire. Apart from God. Please help me preach to your neighbor. Existing apart from God. So he went from the presence of God and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city and called the name of that city after the name of his son Enoch. So it was a personal decision to leave the presence of God, but now he's building a city that sustains the same philosophy. And what's the philosophy? Existing what? Apart from God. Are you there? So that's the principle upon which this civilization was going to be built. We don't want to have any dealings with God. We don't want to have anything to do with God. We will sing our own song, we will do our own thing, and we will enjoy our life to the full, and God will not have any authority whatsoever to infringe upon our liberty. It will be a new direction in sociology, existing apart from God. Next verse. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begat Mehujael, and Mehujael begat Methusael, and Methusael begat Lamech. Please, I'd like us to count how many generations we are dealing with here from Cain. Can you help me do the counting? Yeah, so Cain to Lamech. Okay, so you prefer not to answer. All right, so anyone coming to the rescue? 5 generations from, did you count Cain? Cain, Enoch, who again? Mehujael, Methusael, and Lamech. Oh, Irad. So how many do we have there? 6. And then we arrive at Lamech. 6 generations. Even though it was a godless society, a godless civilization, God was not going to interfere. Satan was the entity that had liberty to express its wiles in their civilization. It took 6 generations before Satan was able to introduce polygamy. Now, you see, as we study, you will find out that Satan begins to use people to pioneer what he had in mind. So he needs a very bold man, a man that has the capacity to stand alone, a man that has a boldness to pioneer. He looked across 6 generations before he found Lamech, and Lamech was bold enough to break the cycle. So they introduced polygamy. It took a great effort for him to do that, for him to fight against the norm, for him to swim against the tide. But eventually his courage gave birth to a new kind of system of marriage. Oh my God, you are not following me. So you see, now there's a migration from God's concept of marriage, and then there's an evolution of possibility. And Lamech was a pioneer. Even though that was Satan's heaven, it took him 6 generations to pioneer a different concept of marriage. And I would like you to understand that in the days of Noah, as we'll come to realize, one of the greatest attacks will be on marriage. As we build, you will understand. Until it will come to a point in chapter 6 where you see that some kind of illegal union took place between entities that are not of the same context. Because what Satan wants to do is to alter the seed of man. But let's leave that. Let's leave that for now until we get to chapter 6, and then we'll use that to profile our generation. All the indices that we are picking up along the way, we will gather it together and use it as a lens, as a vista to observe our generation. So now Lamech had pioneered polygamy, and many other people that were not as bold as Lamech are now taking 2 wives until it becomes a fashion and everybody is married to 2 wives. And in that civilization, it will no longer be possible after a while for anyone to think that there was a time where people were committed to. Do you get that? Yes, okay. Let's go on. And Lamech took him 2 wives. The name of the one was Ada. The meaning of Ada, when translated from ancient Hebrew, translates to the English word called adornment. Don't get me wrong, adornment as it is revealed by the original root word from whence the translation was done doesn't just mean the adornment that a woman puts on to make herself attractive. No. It's inclusive of it, but is not limited to it. Something that is attractive. And consistent with the usage of the original youth word, we can say that Facebook has adornment. Because it is difficult. You will need half a government for someone to switch off his phone, even in church. Because a stronghold of an adornment has been built up, and the soul has been implicated by this attraction. Oh my, you are not with me. The soul is a victim of this attraction, and this attraction can be so strong that if we need to switch the phone off, the person will feel pain in his soul. The reason is because there is an adornment that has built around it. And you see, oh my God, I'm talking I don't want to go too far yet. Now listen, I'd like you to still remember the philosophy of this civilization. The theme of this civilization is existing apart from God. Now, so some of the things you are going to see in this arrangement are mixes that Satan makes available to ensure that you are permanently and perpetually distracted from God, and you find that your existence is trapped within the crucible of that civilization that is existing to ensure that you can continue apart from God. Every infrastructure in that civilization is built to sustain the distraction so that at every point in time you can exist apart from God. So Satan makes available these powerful things that are adorned, and the purpose of that adornment is to bring the soul into captivity, so that the soul has a preoccupation and he no longer has the opportunity to contemplate the things of God. When you go into the New Testament theology, you will find out that the Bible says that we should set our affections on things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. But with this kind of adornments, it's difficult for you to prioritize God, because these systems and this infrastructure has been put in place to ensure that you are perpetually caged in an atmosphere and ultimately insulated from the presence of God. So I need to tell us something. The things that are going to bedevil you so that you are distracted and your life does not strike a chord in God's realm are not necessarily things that seem to be evil in their appearing, but the things carry an adornment that is designed to imprison your soul, and if you continue living that way, you are going to be insulated from God. So using your cell phone, for instance, there's nothing wrong with it, but you can become addicted to it. And when addiction takes place, it means Ada has appeared. Now, so that's why when you say in a generation like this, we need to pray for 7 hours, it looks like you are crazy. The reason is because the person's soul is in bondage to diverse others, and he cannot bring himself to come to terms with the fact that it is actually legitimate to seek God for that long. We get used to systems, to things that bring our soul into captivity. The name of the first wife was what? Ada. Because of time, I will leave you with Zillah to go and study. I just finished Ada. So go and find out the meaning of Zillah. Those are infrastructures. Satan puts them in place to ensure that you are a good person, you are morally sound, you are okay, you have a good job, you have good kids, but your life is squandered because of the infrastructures that Satan has put in place in our age. And that description of a good life, good man, from the perspective of eternity, your life never struck any chord in the realm of God, because Jesus, are you there with me? Yes, never struck any chord. You were insulated all your life from God, and your concept of what it means to be a good man, a good mother, a good woman has been influenced by the civilization that Cain has pioneered. You get that? So you study Zillah. Let me leave that for you.